TempahZone.
What's going on, everybody? Wherever you are listening to this podcast right here, this is episode 76 of the TempahZone podcast with your host, me, Amir Max, and that's all facts. And yes, we are running another solo episode this week. And yeah, it's not like I don't want to have guests on no more, man. Just running these solo episodes out a little bit, just trying something out new. Don't worry, I'm still about having guests on. We ain't slowing it down. Just right now, we don't have a studio for this podcast that we can call somewhere that we can record at. So we have just been resorting to a lot of Zoom calls, and I feel like just doing a lot of these Zoom calls have resulted in getting on certain guests. Not every guest is for the Zoom calls, understandably so. And so it's definitely switched things up right now. But, I love doing the solo episodes. This ain't nothing for me to do. The people love the solo episodes as well. So it's no biggie. We're going to keep this train rolling. It's the main reason why I was off last week. This is the third solo episode in a row. I didn't want it to be 4 in a row. So we'll definitely have a guest after this. So don't want to do 4 solo episodes in a row. But 3 felt fine. But anyway, let's get on to some of these topics that I found this week, because trust me, there was a lot of shit that was going on from the week that I took off last week to now, a lot. One of the things that really sparked my attention that I first want to address was a post about a potential scam. It might not be a scam. From certain artists who've been doing it for a bit, this might be a scam. But basically, big name artists are out here saying, proposing to artists they want to be on a mixtape, and you have to pay $650, I think, $500 to get on this mixtape with a bunch of artists that no one's ever heard of, and basically, you are paying for the likeness. So if it's a mixtape hosted by, I think Fetty Wap had one where you could get on his mixtape. Okay, boom, you pay this company called the Block 365. You pay them, and you're on the mixtape. But the thing about it is that the artist is not even gonna be on the product. They're not even gonna have a verse on there. It's just a mixtape presented by this artist with unknown artists that no one's ever heard of on there. And I'll be honest with you, man. I've been writing since I was 15, putting stuff out since I was 15. I've seen a lot of different scams and different ways that certain companies try to get money out of artists. But this one right here, man. I mean, it's pretty unique. I've never seen anything like this one, but I have seen stuff similar to this scam before. I'm just gonna call it a scam for lack of a better term. But yeah, whether the artists know exactly what's going on with this or not is another story. But for the artist's perspective, this is not the way to go. And I want to shout out to Mike Steetown and J Plus. Those are 2 people I've been seeing talk about it a lot. Those are the 2 people that really, was shedding some light on it. And I wanted to address it on here as well, man, because I think it's very important that artists don't get screwed over. This is, the music industry is already difficult enough as it is. This industry has already put so many obstacles in front of us. Like, do we need more shit to make this hard? We don't. Like, this whole music industry thing, man, like, people got to understand, like, this shit is difficult and it's hard to make certain progress, but you can't be hasty on trying to get to that next level. Spending money where you don't need to spend it because, oh, that's promotion. Like, no, not necessarily. It might look cool to some people, like, oh, he's on this mixtape that's by Fetty Wap, or he's on this mixtape that's by Royce da 5'9". I think he was even in this, or Jadakiss. I think they were in it as well. But yeah, like, it's just one of those things, like, yeah, the look is good, but what ultimately is it going to do for you in the future going forward? Now, A lot of investments can be made in this music game that might look good for a week or two, but in a month from now, or even 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, aren't going to look anything from now. It's hard to know what move is going to be that move that propels your career to that next level, or just a little bit more up. This right here, this ain't it, man. This ain't it. There are so many other ways to spend your money wisely out here to promote yourself, because you have to spend money on promotion. You just have to. Like, so many artists think that you just blow up out of nowhere. Artists just come up in the game out of nowhere. It's like, no, a lot of these guys had connects. And with those connects, they help do things. And by doing those things, it's going to require money, man. It's going to require some money. That's just the way that it goes. It's very, very hard to do things in this game for free. It's just not how it works, man. This is a business. People out here are really marketing the right way, the organic way, and not in a cheating way. And if those people out there exist, which are not easy to find, because if they were easy to find, more people would be doing this organically or doing it in a proper way. But they're not. A lot of people are just straight buying numbers. Just straight buying the numbers. That's not going to do anything for you. It's even resulted with live shows, man. I mean, I think the number one thing that everyone always has to take into account is when you do a live show. I mean, first of all, how lit do you get that live show? First, that. But I think another thing that's important is how many people are you going to bring to that show? All right? How many people are going to be there for you? And I've learned through this rap game that no matter how many streams somebody got, how big their numbers are on whatever platform, it don't mean a thing about how much attention or draw that they bring to a concert. The game has changed, and I think that's one of those things that we have to just be on the lookout for. I really think it really has shaped itself in the last 3 to 4 years. That like there's like no matter how big your numbers are, it doesn't mean that you can tour. Just because you have one big record doesn't mean you can tour. So a lot of guys do festivals or one big performance, 2 big performances. People in those certain realms who can't tour. So it all depends on what you want to get out of it. You know what I mean? It's a very tricky thing when it comes to where to put your money into this. And this is what, I'm digressing a little bit, but this is where it all comes back to is where do you put your money as an artist? And a lot of artists who are new to this will fall for a lot of things that say that, oh, it'll help you with this. Bam, here you go. I've seen there's just so many different ways that money is taken from artists, man. And in so many crazy ways, I could go on and on about it. I know people out there who, have paid tons of money for an exclusive verse from an artist. It's not an exclusive verse. I don't know what type of verse it is, but it's a verse that anyone can just put on a song. Like, there's just so many, it's just to say like, oh, I have this feature. And that's the other thing too. It's like, if you were to pay big money for a feature, is the artist going to reshare it at all? They might not do anything with that. I literally found a song on my Spotify featuring 21 Savage on there. I didn't see 21 Savage post about this song once. It's fire. And that's just one example of a big feature being on a track and not promoting that like at all. Like, this is something that we see very commonly. And, I just advise artists, you got to put your money in the best places. Put your money in places where it's going to give you real results, something that will really generate something organic and something that's real. Because, like I've said on here, man, the fake shit always catches up to you. You know what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that you are putting your money where it will actually count. And this kind of ties into what I want to talk about next, with Kanye West talking about independence and ownership. I'm not gonna go through tweets. I'm not gonna read through exactly every word he said. I looked through it enough to kind of just go off the top here on how I feel about it. And how I feel about it is that, look, y'all, it's 2020. All the information out there is there for you to use to understand how to maneuver this game. The music industry is a very complicated one. I'm still learning stuff. I don't got all the answers. But from my experience as an artist in the game, man, on the low level, on the level that I'm at no big level, man, but I would love to stay independent. And being independent, the thing about it is that there is so much more for you to rely on that you have to do. You have to really be your own boss and take things up upon yourself. There's nothing wrong with signing to anywhere. And I think that's the thing people have to understand is that the term independent is a very broad term, just like the term being signed is a very broad term. And I think once people understand that, they can kind of maneuver for what's best for them. Like, for instance, a 360 deal, the label is literally taking a percentages of everything you do, everything, touring, merch, and that is a big deal because that's where a lot of artists eat off of. So you don't want the 360 deal. That's the one that has become infamous nowadays. So stay away from a 360 deal. Anything else, I'm not too sure. I'll be honest with you. It's kind of like, you figure yourself out, but you figure it out for your own purpose and your own reason, because not everyone can be independent. It doesn't work well for everyone that way. Not, and not everyone should be signed. Like, some people really can take everything upon themselves and just do it on their own. But it's up to you to ask yourself, what are you in it for? You know what I mean? Because you can sign that deal, make your record, and whatever happens after that, boom, you out of there. You would just have to be understanding of that potential downfall. Because all the artists that I know who are independent and built themselves up, man, like, they're going nowhere. Like, one good example is a guy like Freddie Gibbs. Like, Freddie Gibbs, that dude has just climbed up, and they're going nowhere. They're going nowhere. And I think that's one of those things you have to take into account if you are a independent artist. But it's hard to be independent, man. It's not easy. You have to take a lot of things upon yourself, like I said. Because when you sign to the label, they give you money to do what you got to do. And that's great. But that's all recoupable stuff. So meaning that they're going to have to get that money back that they gave you in the first place. So you got to make that money back and then some. So if you break even, you ain't making no money. You ain't getting no profit. You might have done things that were fun with that money to help create what you were creating, but you broke even. And that's the thing a lot of people don't understand when you sign, is that you have to make that money back. That's the other thing. There's a lot of people that can explain the music industry better than me. But I guess that's the very simple way that I can put it. It's dependent on how do you want it to be for yourself in this game, really, because there's so many ways that you can get a good income. There's so many ways that you can be successful in this. It's just all depending on the route that you want to take. So I highly suggest that all artists do their due diligence and learn more about what it really means to be independent. Learn what it means to sign to a label. And when I mean sign to a label, you just getting a distribution deal. It's not even, you're signing a publishing deal, just distribution, stuff like that. Look into these things. Expand your horizon. Try to meet real people to help you out. And those are definitely the ways that has been helping me to do what I gotta do. It's the most important part, man. You just gotta educate yourself, because one thing I learned that's very important is, like a guy like Master P. He could have signed a deal for like what, like it was like $1 million, $2 million. I might be getting this story kind of off, but basically, he could have signed a deal with a label for like $2 million, but he knew his worth was way more than that. He could have made, shit, I could be 30 million. That's what he said. I could be like $30 million. Look at Master P now. Like, it's like people want to, you got to ask yourself, man, like, how far ahead are we thinking here? Like, a guy like Master P is thinking super far ahead, and he is not just thinking music. I mean, this dude, Master P, is someone that we should all really take notes from. I've yet to watch the No Limit Records documentary that they had put out about him, but I definitely gotta check that out. But from all the people that I heard that had discussed it and talked about it, what Master P shows is that you gotta know your worth, man. And that's the key to independence. You gotta understand the worth that you have, because it's very easy to sign. I mean, I don't know what I would do if someone's coming up to me with $1 million and to say no. I mean, first of all, to be in a position to be offered $1 million, you probably can turn it down and just keep doing what you're doing anyway. So I've never been in that position, but I could assume that even if you are offered, if you're even in that position, you can understand that something else might come. But that's hard to have that vision for the future. It's really hard to, man. I mean, shoot, man, it's hard out here for people, man. And to turn down such money like that is very difficult, because it's like, shoot, man, like, what if I turn this down and shit hits the fan, and now I'm looking back on this decision that I didn't capitalize on. It's tough. It's tough. Business isn't easy. These things are hard, and understanding your true value is hard, and it's something you just got to navigate through. And I highly advise people to just educate yourself on independence, educate yourself on all these things that you just hear going on recently, because I really feel that, with Kanye doing all this stuff, and you got a guy like Russ who is very vocal about these things, I really think we're getting to a really awesome point for artists right now to understand the game. And maybe it's just me analyzing it very in depth, but I truly feel that artists are all taking it upon themselves to understand the game way more than past generations did. Because, man, how many times have we heard about artists being in a contract that they didn't like? Like, that is such a common story, man. It is so common. Like, we hear that all the time, man. And so you got to wonder, how do we break the cycle? You know what I mean? And it's not easy, because we're dealing with $1 billion industry. We're dealing with billionaires. We're dealing with basically 3 titans in the music industry. You know what I mean? It's really like, it's like Sony, Universal. Shoot, I don't remember the other one, but like, we're really dealing with 3 titans in this thing, man. And how do you beat the machine? How do you become your own machine for yourself? And that's the thing that all artists got to figure out, man, because wouldn't it be dope to make everything back that you earned and deserve? Like, why, if it sucks having to, cut out certain percentages for certain people. It does. I mean, obviously you want to make as much money as possible. And I understand these labels deserve their cut, because they are the machine. They are the ones that are helping out in certain ways, but that's what it's all about, is to figure out which way do you want it. You get what you put in. So that's all I got to say on that in terms of independence and ownership and all that stuff, because I've really tried to do my best to learn as much as possible about this music industry. And it's taken me so long to get that full grasp and understanding on it. And I think that has to do with the way that this music industry is changing, with things like TikTok coming about and memes kind of dictating, what gets popular in hip hop. It's changing pretty crazy. So I really think that understanding music industry has been kind of weird, and it's something you got to keep up with, man. It's forever changing. If you could still be that guy who's selling CDs. It's like, fam, ain't nobody got CDs anywhere, fam. Like, nowhere. Nobody got CD players. So I can't do nothing with that. Sorry. Like, so you just got to update with yourself with the game, man. Just update yourself and keep learning everything that's forever changing. Simple as that, man. But yeah, I want to talk about two more things before we get out of here. Lyricism. I saw a lot of people talk about this that I didn't expect to and defend Lupe. So basically, Lupe is out here saying that he's a better lyricist than Kendrick Lamar, but Lupe Fiasco is letting it be known that Kendrick makes better songs. He is more successful. All this, all that. Just with, when it comes to that lyricism and a couple of other things, Lupe feels he's better. And I saw a lot of people, more people than I expected, saying, yeah, Kendrick can't really compete with Lupe. Kendrick can't really compete with Lupe. And it had me thinking something, man. And two things. Now, one, this could be something really dope. I've had this understanding that people don't really care about lyricism. It's, people don't really focus on it that much. But this week, I really started to see people still care. There's still those people out there who really love this shit, and because it really blew up. This topic between Lupe and Kendrick really blew up, and I didn't expect that to happen because I didn't think Lupe Fiasco still had enough of a name to get viral like this. But I mean, hey, man, let me put it very clear. I'm a big Lupe Fiasco fan. I'm a fan of all of his work, especially his recent stuff. Definitely check out Drogas Wave, like that, and Tetso and Youth. Those are two albums that will blow your mind if you are a real rap fan, real fan of the lyricism. But anyway, I just thought it was really dope to see, because a lot of times in these situations, I feel like people tend to choose the more popular person. And so I was very surprised to see a lot of people not say Kendrick was the better lyricist. I mean, this is a very tough decision to make for me. I don't know. It depends on the day, man. Some days I feel like Kendrick's more lyrical. Some days I feel like Lupe's more lyrical. But I could totally see how people see how Lupe's more lyrical, man, because that dude be telling, like just like Kendrick, Lupe does concept albums, making songs that, talking about 3 things, 4 things, but, you're focused on it talking about that one thing, like crazy type songs. And so I was happy to see people debating about this, and it set a reminder to me that lyricism will always prevail, man. Just kind of discussion, back and forth with the people. It was very dope to see, man. I just feel like, the lyrical discussion is just not something you are seeing a lot nowadays. I don't know, maybe it's just me. But I'm really happy that, people are, part of the discussion like that. And it lets me know that people still give a damn about what you got to say. And I definitely want to put that there for the artists. It is definitely important to still have that lyricism on deck, man. That, because I feel like once you're a lyricist, you're always a lyricist, man. Like, if any rappers had a lyrical phase, or quote unquote lyrical phase, or, phases of doing that type of style, man, like, it never leaves you. It just doesn't, it's just a certain level that, once you fall in love with it, that's it. You know what I mean? I don't know, because I don't know too many people that can listen to that type of lyrical shit. I just don't. And I'm not knocking anybody who can't, but it's a certain type of crowd. It's an acquired taste, man. Like some of the shit Lupe does, some of the shit Kendrick does. It's very out there, and while you can appreciate it for one way, a lot of times people appreciate Kendrick and Lupe for like 5 different ways. You know what I mean? Not just because they sound cool. Like, there's a lot more to them. And so I just wanted to address that real quick because I thought it was really cool, man. People still care about lyricism, man. It's not just about the flow no more. People still care about what you guys say, man. So it's good to see, man. It's good to see that it got popped up. And the last thing I wanted to talk about here was the social dilemma. I saw the social dilemma, and it confirmed everything I ever thought about social media, man. How they're just, on you, making sure that you stay on these apps as long as possible, all for advertisements, just so that way they can make money off of you. And, while the people that came up with all these stuff didn't intend to create something, so it has brought so much, while it has brought such positivity to this world, it's brought a lot of negativity to this world. Like these people that are on, it's just it's funny to see them talk about it. It's like y'all made this shit, like, and now you ain't working for them no more, and here you are just talking about it. It's just like, you had no idea that it was gonna be this way. Like, you had to had some idea, right? Like, you know what I mean? But I highly advise that all of you watch it because, when it comes to social media, artificial intelligence, the algorithm that makes social media so addictive, these are things that we, are so new to this world, and I really think that people need to be informed about it, man. Understand how your phone works, because a lot of people don't. They don't understand that these ads are exactly what you're looking for. Is that a bad thing? Is that a good thing? I don't know. It depends on how you feel about it. I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't got nothing to hide. But yes, data and privacy is a real thing right now, man. As I am doing this podcast right now, I think my phone is listening to me. Wondering if I'm saying some stuff that is hoping to get an ad out of me for. Like, I'm like phones are on that type of shit, man. I didn't hear nothing about that specifically in the social dilemma, but they are alluding to it. I mean, they have the cutaway scenes with the actors where the kid's on his phone and they're like tracking his personality and they're like watching him and stuff. Like, that was their way of kind of saying like, yeah, this is what's going on, but we're not going to confirm it. Like, because they're, in the documentary, they are just, saying the stuff that is really out there, really, for sure, but for certain. But yeah, I highly recommend that all of you watch this. It's important to understand what is happening to our, society. It is pretty crazy, the addiction to the phone, man. It's just because of the easiness of it. It's so useful, man. It's so useful having the smartphone. You can do everything on it, and so it's tricky, man, to understand. How do we go about this, and fake news, and how it kind of how it does manipulate the real world, and having getting rid of the fact that is the case. We have to make people understand that social media is extremely powerful. I think everyone understands that social media is something we have to put better moderation on. Another thing that the documentary said that I thought was really eye-opening was the way that technology and computers have exponentially advanced from the 60s to now. Like, it has advanced in such a way that we just will never be able to keep up with it. We just won't. And so we are already watching robots come about because these companies have basements, warehouses full of just computers full of this shit, man. And, these are the things that we have to be wary of, man. Not the Terminator like the documentary says. And I really think... Now, I'm just so happy this documentary came out, man, because, I was feeling a little crazy with some of the stuff going on, like, because some of these ads and some of these suggestions with videos and friends and all these certain things, which is too damn specific, man. And it just confirmed everything. Like a guy like Edward Snowden, I mean, he's kind of like the whistleblower that really put all this stuff out there in terms of how the government's tracking basically every move. I guess one thing I draw to conclusion about this, y'all, is to just be mindful of how you consume your media. Be mindful of just how you are browsing your phone and what it's really doing. It's hard to fight the algorithm. It's hard to spot it out and be wary of it, but I guess that's just all I'd say to it. Don't spend too much time on the phone getting nothing done, man. Don't waste too much of your time. Because I think that's another thing about it, man, is that it's an easy distraction too. So make sure of that as well, man. Yeah, make sure y'all watch that documentary if you haven't. That's definitely all I gotta say. And yeah, we're coming up to the end of the podcast, so we're gonna wrap this one up. I appreciate y'all for tuning into this week's episode. We will be back next week. All right. We will be back. I'm telling you, no matter what, we're going to have an episode for y'all out on Wednesday. So just stay tuned for that. Until next time, y'all. Peace.